Indiana lawmakers taking a final vote on the abortion bill. We'll have the latest from the State House and hear from people on both sides of the issue. Plus, lawmakers react to the sudden and tragic death of Indiana Congresswoman Jackie Walorski. We'll talk with State Rep Bob Boehning, who served with her in the State House. Plus, after a busy week in Congress, we'll hear from Senator Todd Young and talk with his opponent, Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott. It's all ahead right now on this week's edition of In Focus. Two very consequential stories we're following this week, including the tragic and stunning death of an Indiana congressional representative, Jackie Walorski, killed in a crash this past week in northern Indiana. We'll have more remembrances coming up. But we're also following the latest developments on the abortion ban passing the House as the special session winds down. Our Kristen Eskow has the latest.
The Senate approving the House version of the bill sends it directly to the governor's desk. The House approved a change to the definition of the mother's health exception, which now includes situations when reasonable medical judgment dictates that performing the abortion is necessary to prevent any serious health risk to the pregnant woman or to save the pregnant woman's life. The other exceptions in the bill involve cases of rape, incest, or lethal fetal anomaly. That's when a condition will likely lead to the death of the baby within a month of birth. Other than those exceptions, the bill bans abortion at all stages of pregnancy. Lawmakers also adjusted the deadline for rape and incest survivors to get an abortion. It would now be 10 weeks post-fertilization, regardless of age. And they would no longer be required to sign an affidavit ahead of the abortion. Lawmakers also removed the provision that would have allowed the Indiana Attorney General to prosecute violators when the county prosecutor refuses to do so. We heard from lawmakers on both sides of the issue.
I think we have to stop calling ourselves pro-life if it only means we have a priority list on life.
For roughly 4 hours Friday, Indiana House lawmakers passionately debated the proposed abortion ban, with Democrats and some Republicans emotionally urging their colleagues to vote no.
And I'm here asking you to not roll back the clock on Hoosier women.
Others encouraged lawmakers to pass the bill.
And in that instance, when I saw a heartbeat, I couldn't believe that I ever felt like it would be okay to kill that child.
After the vote, I asked House Speaker Todd Huston about the opposition the bill has faced from both Hoosiers who support abortion rights and anti-abortion groups.
I understand there's a wide range of opinion. You heard it today. You heard it from members that thought we went too far to members that we thought we didn't go far enough. And credit to Wendy and what she did and her leadership to get us, I think, to a really good place.
Meanwhile, Democrats hope the issue mobilizes voters in November.
It's just been great to see folks engage, and that's what you have to do. I mean, people have to vote. They have to get to the polls this November and vote, make their voices heard.
This is a contentious issue. It's an emotional issue, and we want to make sure that we're exceptionally thoughtful as we go through the entire process.
I think this will have so many horrible unintended consequences for women and their families in our state, and I urge you to vote no.
If the bill becomes law, it goes into effect in mid-September. Now, lawmakers on Friday also approved an inflation relief plan, which includes a $200 tax refund for all Hoosier taxpayers. That was the reason the governor had called this special session in the first place. At the Indiana State House, I'm Kristen Eskow.
All right, Kristen, thanks. A lot of reaction Friday as that bill passed the House. We spoke with Beth White, who's with the Indiana Coalition to End Sexual Assault.
I would say that today is a sad day for women in Indiana. We've been watching carefully with the process. I've been over to testify. We've been meeting with legislators individually. We've prepared facts and information to provide. We've been trying very hard, but at this point in the process, we don't hold out much hope that there will be a change or a broadening of the time for rape and incest victims to get the help and medical care that they need. We're very disappointed. I suppose it's possible that the governor could veto this legislation, but we are not hopeful.
Meantime, we heard more pushback from the business and tourism community this week. The Indy Chamber called on lawmakers to hold off on the bill, and we also heard from organizers of the Gen Con convention speaking out against the legislation.
Reproductive rights are human rights, and that we support a woman's right to choose.
The gaming crowd is a pretty progressive group, and we all pretty much wholeheartedly support bodily autonomy. So the fact that Gen Con is taking a stand and saying that we aren't going to put up with this, we do support our patrons and all of that, is it's heartwarming.
We have a recovering tourism workforce that needs groups like Gen Con continuing to meet here in Indianapolis.
We are committed here through 2026. We do have to think about what this means beyond that, and of course we would have to look at what it means for the period up until that time.
Okay, let's bring in our panel right now. Mike Murphy, Robin Winston with us here in studio today, along with Laura Wilson from UIndy and Greg Weaver from our partners at the Indianapolis Business Journal here on Zoom. And Greg, I'll start with you. This week we're hearing from Gen Con, hearing from the Indy Chamber as well. The business community in Indianapolis starting to make its feelings known on this bill a bit more than they have so far. Is that at all reminiscent of 2015 with RFRA, when really kind of the biggest backlash against that bill from the business community came as the bill was passing and even after the fact, as it got signed into law?
Yeah, I don't see much comparison between what's happening now with this sort of trickle of business opposition compared to what happened in 2015 with RFRA. You don't see a huge corporate outcry or backlash against this bill from some of the largest companies that matter, and that would be companies like Lilly, Cummins, Roche, and so forth.
Laura, what about the impact of this vote in Kansas this past week, with voters there rejecting a measure that would have allowed the legislature there to consider an abortion ban? What were your takeaways from that vote there as discussions like these continue in Indiana and in state houses around the country?
It was fascinating for a number of reasons. Probably one of the most interesting things is that the rejection of the constitutional change was 58.8%, which is almost a landslide. But that was a referendum going to voters. And I should add that Senator Vanetta Baker and Senator Greg Taylor had suggested this as an amendment in the Senate in Indiana to bring it to a non-binding referendum. And ultimately that didn't pass. So, if you bring it to a referendum, you're asking the voters themselves. I think Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Ray said it well when he said representative democracy allows the representatives to make those decisions, but the voters do have a say in election. And not surprisingly, we have one coming up here very soon in the next several weeks.
Mike, what's your reaction to that? Why not leave this to the voters of Indiana to decide, even if in an advisory referendum, as some
I would. Well, first of all, where do you stop? I mean, in Denver, for example, it takes 250 signatures to get a ballot issue. I mean, then you just lose democracy altogether. I believe exactly what Roderick Ray said. There's a difference between representative government and a pure democracy, which we do not have. We have a republic, and people elect their representatives to vote on their behalf and use their judgment.
Robin, your response to that, and will this be a tough vote for some who might be in districts that are a bit more contested than others as the General Assembly comes up for re-election this year?
Well, I was an advocate, Dan, of doing this type of thing early on, but it's very late in the process to try to do it now. We're about 90 days away from the real choice decision, and that is going to be the election on November the 8th. And I do believe this will have some repercussions in House and Senate races. And I do believe that you'll find people will be checking to see where their member was on this particular issue more than ever before.
We will see how that all plays out as we move toward Election Day. Meantime, coming up, more reaction to the tragic and sudden loss of Congresswoman Jackie Walorski, who was killed in a car crash this past week. Stick around. We'll be back with the latest after this.